So, there's news of an Inbetweeners revival going around, which I'm not too sure of, but whether this revival may be in the form of a film, an entirely new series, or a spin-off, I don't really know, but nonetheless, let's get straight into it. Would Inbetweeners even work now? I mean, when I watched it when I was a teenager between 2008 to 2010, yeah, I found the show funny, but looking back at it, it just wouldn't. It just wouldn't be the same. Like the jokes then that flew at the time, the jokes wouldn't fly now, and that's because of the world we live in now. Back then, the jokes that were told, they were just like throw around jokes, but now we live in a different time where the jokes that we all heard, said, and repeated then, but are unacceptable now. I mean, arguably, the jokes were unacceptable then, but not many people really cared at the time to realize how unacceptable they were. But anyway, right, sticking with this in-betweeners, we all remember the 2019 reunion. That was atrocious, to say the least. Absolutely atrocious. And that's all I need to say for that. Now, should the Inbetweeners return in any capacity, I'd like to see a backstory of either Will Mackenzie or Jay Cartwright, as I believe those two characters have the best backstories. Like, imagine an Inbetweeners spin-off featuring a young Will Mackenzie or a young Jay Cartwright in a similar vein of the Goldbergs or young Sheldon. Like, that's something I'd like to see, but of course, that version of the Inbetweeners featuring a young Will or a young Jay would probably have to be like a bit more PG, because I really don't see an Inbetweeners spin-off featuring young versions of any of the characters being beyond PG. But that's what I think. What are your thoughts? Would you like to see a spin-off of the Inbetweeners featuring young versions of any of the characters? But thinking of the show, why bring it back at all? I guess you want older fans to have a bit of nostalgia, but the Inbetweeners was good for its time. But to bring the show back would ruin its legacy. That's the way I see it. Bringing back Inbetweeners, it would just ruin the show. And honestly, if I was to watch an Inbetweeners revival now, I'd just sit down and be like, why is this? Why is this back? Because now I have a more critical mind than I did back then. I just took everything at face value without really thinking about it. But now I think to myself, okay, what's the point in this show at all? Like, I even hear some of the phrases said out loud in public, and I just think to myself, that's just not funny. Of course, I found it funny when I was between the ages of 13 and 15, but as someone who's nearly 30, I just think to myself, yeah, that's just not funny anymore. Like, yeah, it was funny like 15 years ago, but it's not funny now. But that's just me as an adult talking. I'd like to know what you think. Who would really like to see an Inbetweeners revival featuring the main four characters as adults? Nobody. Honestly, I don't think anybody would like to see that. I mean, it's worked when they were cast as teenagers. Of course, they were in our like 20s at the time, but to see those four main characters as adults now, it would just be a bit, yeah, just no. I don't think anybody would want to see that for many reasons, not least that it will just be like corny, like we've all gotten on with our own lives, so why would we need to see four men who were cast as teenagers 15 years ago be at where they are now? Like it just reeks of American Reunion. Like we all saw that film, and we all saw where the characters from the original American Pie were all older. That's what an Inbetweeners revival featuring the four characters would be like. It would just be like American Reunion, and I hope that. Well, what am I saying? Thinking of American Reunion, we had the character of Steve Stifler still calling himself the Stiffmeister. Yeah, and for that reason alone, it's just one of the reasons why an Inbetweeners revival shouldn't happen. Because what's happening, what's going to happen is that, like I said earlier, it's just going to ruin the legacy. But that's just my take. One more thing, not everything from the past should return. And I'm not just talking about the Inbetweeners, but I'm talking about TV and film in general. Like, you don't need to reboot something from the past. Just let the past be what it was. Like, there's one thing I don't agree with across the board of TV and film, is that films from, say, 20, 30 years ago are being rebooted to make it more socially acceptable. And I just think to myself, what was wrong with the original? Like, because it wasn't socially acceptable now. I mean, that's why we learn things. We learn things from the past. So reboots to make things more socially acceptable, for me, it's not needed. But yeah, I think I've spoken enough now. So let's know, what do you think? Do you think there should be an Inbetweeners revival? For me, it's not needed. But yeah, let's know what you think.